everyone, Lee Trading with Stocks Trade Tim Bohen. Today we're going to be talking about bouncing back from a trading slump and strategies to regain your momentum. I mean, listen, I was talking about this on a webinar the other day. A lot of people with trading, and really anything, I think, people look for kind of the easy path. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. You got to understand that no matter what you're embarking on, like I use the analogy of like learning a language or, losing weight, as corny as it is, losing weight is quite frequently very analogous to trading. Like you can make all the right decisions, do all the right things, and then all of a sudden you're losing a pound here or there. And then for a week, just like nothing happens, even though you're doing all the right things. And trading can be a lot like that. Like sometimes, I remember a couple weeks ago, dip and rips were just off the chain, like every day, 3 to 4 bread and butter dip and rips. And then all of a sudden for about an entire week, there were none. And people were like panicking and sending me messages, is it over? And I'm like, dip and rips have been working for about 8 years. It's just a slow week, okay? So you gotta understand that it's never gonna be that linear path, your P&L, lower left to upper right. It's gonna be a zigzag line all over the place. And I just think having the realistic expectations of that. I think a lot of people come into trading, they see people with amazing results, they see the yachts and the Lambos and all this stuff, and again, they think the guy with the Lambo went from 1,000 to 1,000,000, and it was just a gradual linear path. It's not that way. Slumps are going to happen. So because of that, we need to know how to deal with them. Okay, we need to know how to manage those slumps and not, destroy your account in the process. So the first step is recognizing that you're in a slump. Now that may sound corny, but what I see so many traders missing is real data tracking. Like they'll mentally track the data, and they'll be like, oh, I lost a couple $100 yesterday, and I made a couple $100 today, but they're not really detailing specifically what setup they're trading, what time of day they're trading, what position size they're trading. The more granular you can get in your data, the more you can isolate things that, again, maybe you're still trading dip and rips because they were hot a week ago and they're cold now, and you're like, oh, okay, this isn't working, that isn't working. The only way you can do that is by categorizing your setups, tracking your setups, and again, time of day, position size, and catalysts, so important to keep a track of, because a lot of the times mornings are really hot, afternoons are hot. You have to understand that. And I'm telling you, I know, I've been there. Everyone says, I can do it upstairs. I can remember, you can't, okay? You you will not be able to do that because of the fact there's just too much information. Now you've tracked your data, you're doing a good job of that, you've isolated something. Listen, this is, maybe not the biggest mistake, but this is top 3 mistake. People realize they're in a slump. They know their trading isn't going well. They're frustrated and aggravated. What's the first thing they start doing? Again, I've made all these mistakes. I know it, okay? They start doing more. They start trading more. They start trading more setups. They start trading bigger size. They start trading more times a day. Listen, I am telling you, if you're in a slump, the very first thing you do is less, okay? You go back to the drawing board. You scale back your size. If you were trading 1,000 shares, now you're trading 100. Maybe you're paper trading, okay? Listen, paper trading has its pros and cons. The one nice thing about paper trading is you can't lose money, okay? So if you're struggling and you're losing money every day, the great thing about paper trading is it's impossible to lose money. Now, a lot of people don't like that. I kind of agree. I prefer like the really small position size. Like go back to 10 shares. Go back to literally 1 share till you get your swagger back, okay? But that is so important. Do less, okay? Don't do more. Start there. Stem the bleeding, okay? Now you're making 10%, 15% with 1 share or 10 shares. Then start adding the size back. Then start trading more setups. Then start trading more stocks, okay? But not before you stem the bleeding. Next thing, again, is kind of going back to what I said already, analyze those trades from the past. What worked in the past? What did you do in slumps in the past? That's where the journal comes in hand. I'm such a big fan of journaling. We have one at Stocks to Trade that we give you for free, or I mean, it's not complicated. Like when I say tracking your trades, that's your spreadsheets, that's your Profitly, your trader view, etc. When I talk about journal, that's more emotion and things that are happening in your life. Listen, I know it might sound woo-woo. I'm not going to bust out any crystals or patchouli oil. We're not going to sing Kumbaya. But the simple fact is that your personal life will enter your trading. If you got in a fight with your wife or your husband today, or the kids are screaming in the next room, it will affect your trading. So if you are journaling and you're recognizing that, man, things are bad in my life. Life happens, okay? My parents aren't doing well. The boss is on my back. And now all of a sudden my trading isn't going well. You can only recognize those things if you're honest with yourself and journal and review those journals at the end of the week. Next thing, again, kind of already mentioned this, but the biggest point is dialing back your size and focusing on your risk management, okay? If you're more quick to stop out, more quick to take gains, it's going to minimize your profits, okay? Taking quick gains. But what that does is it creates good momentum, okay? Now you're all of a sudden, maybe you're taking 10% gains, which we typically look for much bigger in day trading, but it starts building your confidence, okay? $100, $100. Not gonna change your life making $100 trades, but it gets your constant confidence back and sets you towards that path. And then that segues into, rebuilding your confidence. I think the best way to maximize your confidence is to make good decisions, to have good discipline. And the more you can stick to the plan, the more you can force discipline, the more likely you are to get rewarded over time. Something you'll hear me say is good decision making rewards you over time in trading. Taking small stops, especially during a slump. No one likes getting stopped, especially getting stopped out during a slump. But by making good decisions, it will pay off in time. Won't pay off today, probably won't pay off next week, but it will pay off in time. Next thing I'm a big fan of is have a support network. Like every day, or not every day, but every year, well, until COVID, but we're back. We've done the Tim Sykes Trader Investor Summit for over a decade. I've been a part of many, many of those. And again, we did one last year. We're doing one this year in 2023. But the reason I bring that up is the conference is amazing. It's great to learn from traders that have done it, that have been where you've been. But I tell you, a lot of times I kind of open up the conferences because I get up early, so they rope me into it. But one of the very first things I will say at the beginning of every one of those conferences, look to your left, look to your right, introduce yourself, talk about your stories. When the breakout sessions happen, when the coffee and donuts come, introduce yourself, meet people. There's people that I met at trading conferences that I talk to daily. I met them a decade ago, probably 15 years ago. Hell, I met Mark Crook probably in 2009 or 2010 at a Tim Sykes conference. I met Tim Lento. I met Michael Good at the very first Tim Sykes trading conference. I mean, these are trading friends and people that I can, bounce ideas off or talk about trading 15 years later. Take advantage of it and build that network, whether it be through Twitter, social media, as much as I like to pick on it. Finding like-minded people is a good advantage. But go to in-person conferences. Now that we're finally back from COVID, take advantage of that. So in summary, everyone, one of the biggest things, and actually it's funny that when I wrote out these bullets today, literally yesterday morning, would have been July 19th on Pre-Market Prep. That's that morning session where I go live every day. I'm traveling, okay? I'm shooting this video, and my hotel Wi-Fi stunk on Pre-Market Prep. Live stream kept cutting out. It was jerky. It was just, again, it is what it is. But I had, just a couple people. There's actually typically like 700 people on these live streams, usually very positive. But there were a couple people just like ranting about the fact that the Wi-Fi was cutting in and out. And I'm like, and I made it kind of a teaching moment. That's what I do as a mentor. But I'm like, listen, I get it. I'm like, I can't control the Wi-Fi. I'm on the road. I don't own the hotel. I can't do anything about this. But like ranting about it when I was trying to go over the best trade opportunities of the day, accomplishes nothing. You know, all it does is put you in a bad mood for the rest of the day. And the point I'm making is, I'm not saying be a Pollyanna, okay? I'm not saying wear rose-colored glasses. But you got to understand that this is a marathon, not a sprint. You've heard that a million times. You got to understand that trading is very front-loaded, okay? It's actually something that I love. It's very front-loaded. That first 6 months, that first year, you're going to learn massive amounts, but a lot of the failure you're going to experience is going to be front-weighted in that first 6 months or a year. And if you maintain a positive mindset and you understand that trading slumps are part of this, you understand that I'm learning and growing every day, hopefully my account is slowly getting better, that as I get through that crucible of that first 6 months or a year, then you can start going parabolic. But if you're constantly down on yourself, you're constantly ticked off, you're constantly throwing your laptop. I've punched monitors before, I've thrown things, I've smashed stuff. But if you're constantly doing that, listen, you're setting yourself up for failure. So don't be a Pollyanna, but maintain a positive focus. And that being said, as I mentioned with pre-market prep, one of the best ways to do that is, I kind of pride myself in being, a mentor and a coach. And pre-market prep is live every single day. We talk about the best setups of the day, the best chart setups of the day, and we talk about the emotional side of things. Like we talk about losing streaks. We talk about things you're struggling with every single day, live 8:30 Eastern. So click that link. Would love to see you there, and we'll see you on the next video.